Hey guys, it's Jasmine. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a very popular request and I'm going to be talking about, as you can probably tell from the title, how I got hired at BuzzFeed, and I'm also going to include a little story of how I went viral on LinkedIn, but I'll get into that later. Before we get into all of that, I think it's important to talk about my background a little. If you don't want to listen to this part, I'll time code the section so you can just skip to whatever you want to listen to. So let's fast forward to college. I committed to UC Santa Barbara and I went there my freshman and sophomore years. I didn't feel like I had enough opportunities and resources to anything adjacent to entertainment. So I applied to transfer to another UC. I wanted to go to UCLA because, I mean, Los Angeles is the home of entertainment, media, Hollywood, you get it. While I was applying to transfer from one UC to another UC, if you filled out the UC application before, at least during my time when I applied, you can just like click other UCs that you want to apply to. So it's literally just one click away to apply to another UC. Why not? Let's just see if I get in. I applied to UCLA and UC Berkeley. I get into both schools and I was really excited because I was like, holy shit, I get to go to UCLA and pursue my dreams in entertainment. False. My financial aid package sucked, but I get pretty much full ride to UC Berkeley. So I was really upset and I decided not to go to UCLA and I chose to go to UC Berkeley. That, however, ended up being probably the best decision of my entire life. I love UC Berkeley, still love it to this day. I will do anything for a fellow bear. Go Bears! My first semester there, I joined a club called BCEC, Business Careers in Entertainment Club. And along with that, I joined the school's TV station, which was called Cal TV. One was business and one was creative. So it really allowed me to use both and build my skills and portfolios. So with the business club, I was able to brush up my resume, learn how to write a very powerful and effective cover letter, take professional headshots, things like that. And with the creative, which was my TV station at school, I was able to build my portfolio. I learned how to use a camera, how to use sound equipment, how to edit with Premiere, how to host. Actually, that was the first time I was able to host. So I started as an entertainment reporter. I interviewed some pretty cool people, Haley Steinfeld, Ali E. Carvalho, a bunch of others. After my first year at UC Berkeley, I landed my first internship at CBS Local as a video production intern in New York City. So obviously I was super excited. I was working on a WWE video podcast called The Taz Show. I know you probably think I'm not interested in WWE at all. Well, yeah, you're right, but it was really dope. I had a great experience. So when I wasn't doing sports podcasts, I was helping out with some celebrity interviews. So I was able to meet some really cool people like Bryan Cranston, Jordan Fisher, DJ Khaled, a whole bunch more. It was really cool. Also, it was my first internship in entertainment, so being starstruck was like, it was something you had to learn to handle for sure, because it doesn't look good when you're like an intern running around being like, can I have a picture? So yeah, that was my first internship, and that was when I learned I wanted to be in this industry. So after my summer internship at CBS, I returned to school for the fall semester and I had landed an internship with NBC. My role was the production intern at NBC Bay Area, working on the morning show. I actually had a great interest in news beforehand. At one point, actually, my goal was to become a news anchor. However, after this internship, I realized I didn't want to do news anymore, because waking up every morning to go into a newsroom where we often cover stories that have negative energy, that seeps into yourself as well. So I just learned that I didn't want to pursue a full-time career in news. I don't think it helped that when I was there, it was fall of 2016, which meant I was working the 2016 presidential campaign. I was covering those stories about those weird clowns. Do you remember those clowns that kept like popping up everywhere? No joke, one time I walked into the control room, the room with a bunch of screens everywhere, and I think half of them were clowns. I walked in, it was like 6 a.m. and I was like, that internship ended and I was really grateful for it, because after that internship, I realized I don't want to do news. But I tell everyone this, knowing what you want to do is just as important as knowing what you don't want to do. And that's what that internship in news taught me. Spring semester rolls around and it's time to look for a job. This is where I start talking about BuzzFeed. I applied to like, I wanna say over 300 jobs. But the most important application for me was my fellowship application to BuzzFeed. I had my eyes set out for that fellowship position for a very long time. In high school, I already knew I wanted to work at BuzzFeed. I was already watching their content, and in college, my morning routine consisted of waking up, opening my laptop, going to the BuzzFeed channel, and watching the latest episode of Outsmarted, Unsolved, Try Guys, you name it. I would watch any video that went up on that channel. So I applied to the fellowship. I actually had a referral from a friend, which made me extra confident that I would get it. But you know, I didn't get it. And I was devastated. With the application, you have to submit a video. I submitted awkward moments only Taiwanese Americans understand. Super BuzzFeedy, at least old school BuzzFeed, and I thought I was a shoo-in. I actually received an email from the recruiter saying that this video was dope. But yeah, life works in funny ways, and I didn't get it. I was putting myself down, and I knew, I was like, you know, it's already very hard for an Asian to break through in entertainment, so why even bother? And at that time, I was considering not even pursuing it anymore. I was thinking about going to grad school and figuring out something else I could do. So if you're in that stage right now, keep going, because it can happen. I really do believe in you. Anyway, so yeah, I got rejected. And then I graduate, unemployed, move back home, still unemployed for a few months actually. I reapplied to the BuzzFeed Fellowship program. I wait a few weeks and no response. Then one more week goes by and I get a rejection email. I get really sad again, and that's when I posted on LinkedIn. I remember running to my room and I opened LinkedIn and I just start typing away. I ended up writing this post that was pretty much a big fuck you to rejection as a whole, because for the past however many months, I would let each job rejection make me feel worthless. And it made me feel like I was unable to get a job. It made me feel unqualified, unworthy. And after getting rejected so many times from companies from all over the world, it just made me realize that no one can tell me to stop pursuing my dreams except for me. The morning after I published my article on LinkedIn, I woke up to thousands of notifications. It had gone viral overnight because the CEO of LinkedIn, Jeff Weiner, had commented on my post. I had 4,000 emails in my inbox at one point, just lots of words of encouragement, occasionally some haters, but mainly words of encouragement. And soon I started getting reached out to by news sites, and they were publishing articles about me. Random websites were publishing articles about me. And then I did an interview with Now This. My friend who was interning at LinkedIn had even messaged me, and she was like, yo, Jeff Weiner is leading this speaking event and he just brought your post up. And I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. But yeah, I even did a video with Now This. They had reached out to me and asked to do an interview, and I actually applied to a job there. And so when they reached out to me, I was like, holy shit, I have a job interview. So I got all like ready for this interview, and she was like, yeah, so tell me about how you wrote this post. And I was like, this isn't a job interview, what? Anyway, so yeah. And yeah, so that's how I went viral on LinkedIn. All my friends ended up hearing about it. My mom's friends ended up hearing about it. Funny enough, my current coworkers don't even know that this happened to me. So if you work with me and you're just finding this out now, haha. And that leads me to applying to BuzzFeed's fellowship program for the third time. I play the waiting game and I wait and wait, and I actually get 2 internships simultaneously between that. Not at BuzzFeed though. One was working for a comedian, Jenny Yang, who's awesome. The other internship was at Omaze as a post-production intern. So after applying to BuzzFeed's fellowship program for the 3rd time, a few weeks go by again, and I get a video interview. I remember being out when I received the email, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta go home and do this video interview right now. After submitting my video interview, I get called back for an in-person interview. I remember being so freaking excited. I was like, this is my chance, 3rd time's a charm. And this is the last stage of this interview process, and I'm gonna fucking get it. So I go up to the interview room, I enter, and there's 4 people. There's 4 people in front of me. It's a panel interview, and I realized very quickly, I know these people from BuzzFeed videos. So imagine being starstruck and then having to be like a person and do serious things. It was very difficult. And then to top it off, one of the questions in the interview was to pitch a video idea. And so I collect myself, and I was choosing between 2 video ideas to pitch them. And I remember going with the safe one, but for some reason, the unsafe one came out of my mouth. And so I said, I'd love to do a video called Asian Women Get a Bubble Butt in 30 Days. Asian women suffer from a condition called ABD, otherwise known as Asian booty disease, where no matter how hard we try, we can just never get a bubble butt. And so I started explaining how I would tackle the video, and then the whole panel was just sitting there like, and I was like, oh, I fucked up. And the person leading the interview was like, okay, well, I have another question. And then one of the other interviewers, he interrupts. He's actually my friend now, which is great. But he stops the interview, he goes, hold up, wait a minute. Did you say Asian booty disease? And I was like, yes. And he was like, stop. And I was like, I was just very serious about my video idea, and he's laughing, and I can tell all the other interviewers are like trying to keep a straight face, and he's just dying in the back corner. And I was like, I fucked up, didn't I? And so yeah, that was my interview. I can't remember any other questions because I think I blacked out from that one specific memory that really traumatized me. I had never been so like out of the box in any interview, but that one, I don't know. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know what got into me. And you know how this story ends because I'm sitting in front of you telling you how I did get hired. But it doesn't end there. I start my fellowship, I work on a bunch of cool channels like Blue, which is now Multiplayer, Boldly, which is now As Is, and the video channel. And I remember sitting in my very first building and I saw the table. I saw the Bring Me table and I was like, damn, they're so cool. My goal is to move on to that team. And so my fellowship ends and I get laid off. My whole class is laid off. The fellowship program is canceled. A few people move on as residents, but the rest of us canceled. And they were of course really sorry, but it was one of the first layoffs that BuzzFeed had, and unfortunately we were affected in them. Fortunately, I was brought back to freelance PA, and through the connections I had already made during my fellowship, I was hooked up with other projects within the company. And before I knew it, an in-person interview was scheduled with the entire Bring Me team, and I remember Ari, Brent, Kirby, and Hannah being there. And I remember Kirby, who's like my best friend on the team now, I remember that she was so mean. And then she was just like, she would ask me a question and then type furiously on her laptop. And so she'd be like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, she hates me, I'm not gonna get this. Later, I found out she was taking a fucking bread quiz. Can you imagine? I was so mad. I was like, you really made me feel like I didn't get the fucking job, but you were taking a bread quiz. So I thought she hated me and I was like, oh, I'm probably not gonna get this. But turns out they all really liked me, and I ended up getting a permalancing editing job with the Bring Me team for like 6 months, and then I became full-time as their editor. And I had expressed to my manager that I really wanted to produce and I had the background to produce. So in a few months, actually very quick turnaround, I became a full-time producer. Yeah, it was awesome. I've had a roller coaster experience at BuzzFeed, but needless to say, I'm really happy. I get to make content that I love, that I'm really excited about. I have a show called Giant Food Time where I surprise and challenge my friends to finish giant versions of their favorite foods. I get to make food tours all around the world. Disneyland food tours, which are like my favorite videos. Oh my God, I love Disney. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. And I guess the rest is to be continued because I'm still here. I have a lot of projects in store that I'm excited for you guys to see, and I'm so excited to engage with you guys more, especially on this channel. I know I briefly touched on some topics about professionalism, so let me know if you want me to dive deeper into how to grow yourself professionally with resume tips, interview tips, cover letter tips, how to build your portfolio, how to create a website, or even a video specifically dedicated to how to get your foot inside the entertainment industry. That's all I have for now, so if you have any other questions, you can leave a comment below or DM me on Instagram, and make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Bye.